Good morning, everybody. Dr. Mark Di Pasquale, Dr. Sean Campbell.
G'day.
How we doing?
Very well.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. We're here for the next episode, the latest episode of the Adjusted Chiropractic of One Health and Fitness channel. So we're talking about all things healthy. Now, we've spoken about a few things over the last weeks. Today, we're getting close to lunchtime.
Yep.
And I'm getting hungry.
Yep. I'm
You
starving.
hungry? Yeah. Why are you starving?
What time is it? Nearly just after midday.
It is. It's 12:32.
So yeah, nearly time for my first meal.
First meal of the day.
Yeah. Time to break the fast.
So today we're talking about intermittent fasting. Yeah. So how, and you may have heard this in media or books that we've read about intermittent fasting, different ways to do it, etc. Let's just talk about that today. Let's go around it and let's talk about all things intermittent fasting. Why would we be looking at intermittent fasting first of all?
Powerful for your health. So many research benefits to doing fasting, to having some regular time where your body has fully digested everything in the system and is able to start actually recovering and putting itself to other uses rather than focusing on digestion all the time.
Wow, good point. Okay, so, and a lot of the research that I've read, and particularly with experience over the years, it's and we do know, in chiropractic is all about the nervous system and how the nervous system functions. And we do now know how there's two parts of the nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. And we know that when the sympathetic is working, digestion switches off pretty much. When the parasympathetic working, the digestive system comes on.
When you're being chased by someone trying to rob you or something, your body's not trying to digest that sandwich that you had earlier. It's diverting blood to the important organs like your muscles.
To get away.
To help you escape.
Now we do talk about that, and that's effectively called the fight or flight response.
Yeah,
now that is it's a prehistoric response of what's brought human beings through.
It's a safety mechanism.
It is. So many years ago, we could expect ourselves living in caves, and the human species living, on the land, running away from dangerous situations, literally. But this day and age, we don't necessarily have to run away from things all the time. But why are we so stressed still? What is it that we're running from?
Well, the body doesn't recognise the difference between a stress that's a physical stress that we need to run from versus an emotional stress, a stress to do with family, to do with money, to do with work, these sort of stresses. The body's physiological reaction is the same as what it would be to escape from a dangerous situation.
Yep, and those dangerous situations, if we're talking about our lifestyle these days, is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Non-stop.
Constant stress. And there's been a lot of things written up and a lot of things in the media about the causes of disease like cortisol levels and all these other hormones and derivatives.
Relate to higher risk of mortality.
So, and what's interesting is just to understand that it might be cortisol levels that are causing a lot of our issues. So we say, okay, let's get rid of cortisol. Now that's not the answer. The answer is to understand that we are in a stressed response. We are in a stressed lifestyle. So what we can do to not necessarily detune ourselves, but put us back to the way that human beings lived and functioned. And I like to put it in the way of 100 years. Like, for example, in the last 100 years, the human species has come so far, so fast. We were in horses and buggies, 100 years ago, and that's all we had. We didn't even have electricity, we didn't have phones, we didn't have computers. And within 100 years, which is 3 generations, we've now got man on the moon, we've got computers everywhere, phones everywhere, technology, like we've never had it before in such a short space of time. And this is creating a lot of our stress. So intermittent fasting, what is it that it does? How does it bring us back to how we function as a human being? And why is it so good for us?
Yeah, well, it's normal for our bodies to have these periods of time where we're not ingesting food. So this is only something that we do now is because we have availability to food. We don't have to hunt it. We can just walk into a shop and it's handed to us. We don't have to work for it. And so the reason why this period of fasting is so beneficial is because what actually happens is your cells, when you're constantly getting fed, constantly got this access to this energy supply in the bloodstream, our cells are in this growth mode. So we see this high levels of this insulin growth factor. So what's interesting about this, it's IGF for short, IGF-1, And what's interesting about this is they use it as a marker for cancer. So they measure your blood, and if you've got high levels of this IGF-1, we recognise that you are in a higher risk category for cancer. And what we actually find is when you fast, your IGF-1 levels drop quite dramatically. And what actually happens is the cells start repairing, and any cells that can't be repaired and are damaged, the body will break down and will start utilising them, recycling them for energy production. So this is a way, it's almost a cleansing. It's a way of cleansing the body.
Wow.
Breaking down damaged cells, recycling them, and then using them for energy.
Sounds amazing. It sounds awesome, but it does go contrary to what a lot of people think, that we've got to have small meals more often. So that came out of, a few years ago, didn't it?
My belief, the reason this became so popular was because there was a few studies done to do with keeping your metabolism running. You've got to eat breakfast in the morning to kickstart your metabolism, things like that. Things which are not really backed by any solid research. Whereas I believe this may have come from diabetics.
Okay.
And so what we know with diabetics is they can no longer regulate blood sugar.
Okay.
And what you need to do for someone with diabetes is make sure that they're given small portions of food sporadically throughout the day to make sure that they're getting this even amount of blood sugar released into the bloodstream. And so I could understand how people would then make a leap. Well, if we want to try and be healthy and avoid diabetes, let's eat like that anyway. And the issue that we've seen is that this actually starts to basically train the body into not knowing how to regulate blood sugars anymore.
Wow.
So if you're
the problem gets worse.
The problem gets worse. It's a surefire way to actually create diabetes, getting people eating all the time, every 3 hours, getting blood sugars released all the time. It affects insulin sensitivity. The body goes, well, I'm getting what I need at regular intervals, and will actually decrease its ability to regulate blood sugar, to store it and release it when it needs to be used.
Wow, amazing. Well, I think the fact is we as human beings weren't designed to be eating all the time.
The sheer volume of food that we eat now.
I mean, if we go back generations, we were hunters, gatherers. There literally wasn't the food there all the time for us to eat. We would effectively go days without eating anything if we were traveling or walking the plains, moving. Now, in this day and age, there's supermarkets everywhere. Our pantries are all stocked with so much food.
Endless.
Yeah, so we have changed the way that we do eat, and what we're seeing in the statistics of heart disease, cancer, diabetes, I mean 1 in 4 Australians now are classified as type 2 diabetics. So 1 in 4 people. So the way that we've been eating over the last 100 years is very incorrect. So we do take a bit of a step back before that, find out how we were eating back then, and it was pretty basic. Okay, so intermittent fasting has greater time periods between meals, so that it gives our body a chance to recuperate, burn the fuel once we're eating, get it into our body, but then also has that leeway where we don't have to be digesting 24 hours a day, and our body can do other things.
And the way, some people have heard of the 5 and 2 way of fasting.
Yes.
And that's 5 days where you eat normally how you would, and 2 days of the week where you restrict your calories down. I think it's 500 for females and 600 for males. And so this, I did this for a little while, and there were some people who popularized this. I think Hugh Jackman was doing this diet for a while, and so it's been around for a few years. So most people have heard of it, and it works. It's very effective. It's one way you can do it. For me, it was because you're doing one thing 2 days of the week and something different on the other 5 days. It's not consistent, so I found that the body wasn't able to adjust as easily to that change. The way I do it is the 16-8 method. Okay. So what this is, basically, whatever time I have my last meal for the night. So it might be 7 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, 7 as an example. Sort of normal dinner time. My first meal won't be until 16 hours later. Okay, so 16 hours from that is 7 in the morning. 11:30, 12. So 7 to 11, 11:30 from 7 o'clock, or 7:30 in the previous evening. So which means no breakfast. No breakfast. No,
Okay.
that's right. Which is why I'm so hungry at the moment.
Yeah.
It's getting towards what 1 o'clock now.
Yeah.
I think it's just after 12:30. So
Mhm.
yeah, haven't eaten in about 16 and a half hours at this
Yeah.
point.
So this information on intermittent fasting is not going to be very popular with you out there listening, because our society has us such in a way that we get up and have breakfast, break the fast,
Yeah.
morning tea, have something to eat, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, then
Yep.
supper. Our lifestyle, we just have way too much food.
It sounds exhausting.
It does, and it is. If you haven't intermittent fasted yet, I recommend it. Cleansing or going through cleansing, it's amazing.
I started it for the health benefits and the research that I saw, but I love it for the convenience. It's very, very easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's just, you have more time, you're more productive in the mornings. You don't even have to think about food until after midday. It's
And
great.
one of the things I actually notice a lot of when I do intermittent fast and leave out breakfast, if I have breakfast and then I have something early afternoon, the breakdown of those sugars, I'm always, for some reason, I'm more tired in the afternoon. Whereas if I fast up until lunchtime and have lunch, for some reason that 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock time period, I seem to get through that with a lot more energy.
Yeah, you don't get those highs and lows with your eating.
Yeah, I know
Absolutely.
that's because of the sugars, basically, that the body just becomes so accustomed to. So a lot of people will be pulling their hair out thinking, well, I can't miss a meal of the day.
Of course.
Everything's showing us that we can miss many meals, actually, and we will be a lot healthier for it.
Yeah, and if someone was willing to start this, to give it a try, a really easy way to start is to just aim for about 12 hours between your dinner and your breakfast. So if you finished eating at 8 o'clock at night, don't eat until after 8 o'clock the next day. It's very, very easy to do. Most people probably do that without realising quite regularly. And even that sort of 12 to 14 hour, you can get a lot of benefits even just through that time frame.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, awesome advice. So intermittent fasting, there it is. Hey, give it a go. It's a bit controversial, I suppose. It's not very favourable, but it does have a lot of health benefits.
Getting more popular.
It is. And obviously, if there are any questions that you have, don't hesitate to contact us. Send us an email, give us a call. We're here at the One Health and Fitness facility now. Adjusted Chiropractic has been here for a week now, which is awesome. As in our whole team, Dr. Sean Campbell has been here for over 18 months now, working with a lot of the team here.
Yeah.
So it's been great. Yeah, absolutely. So come down and see us. And any questions you have, just contact us. Thanks for coming in today. Thanks for all your wisdom and advice.
Thank you.
Awesome. See ya.
See you later.